Close your eyes for a moment and picture a small town with quiet streets, warm lights in the windows, and a little shop on the corner that most people pass without noticing. The sign above the door says Rivera Repairs, and in the window there is a clock. It is a strange clock. The hands do not move forward, they move backward, one tiny step at a time. People call it the clock that ran backwards. The shop belongs to Mr. Rivera, an old repairman with gentle eyes and steady hands. He fixes shoes, radios, and broken toys. He believes that almost anything can be mended if you take time to understand it. Children like to visit his shop because it smells like lemon oil and fresh wood. Grown-ups like it too, because when you talk to Mr. Rivera, you feel calmer. You feel that your worries are not giants, just puzzles you can solve. One autumn afternoon, a girl named Lena pushes open the door. She is in 5th grade. She is smart and kind, but today she looks sad. At school, she said something unkind to her best friend during a game. She did not mean to be cruel, but the words escaped like a spark, and her friend's face fell. Lena tried to pretend it was nothing, yet her chest felt tight, like a knot. She walked without a plan, and now she stands inside the shop, looking at the clock that runs backwards. "Why does your clock go the wrong way?" Lena asks. Mr. Rivera smiles. "It does not make time go back," he says. "It helps people look back." "What good is that?" Lena says. "I cannot unsay what I said." "You cannot," says Mr. Rivera, "but you can change what the moment means. Sometimes we think time is a river that pushes us along, and we are just leaves. But we are not only leaves, we are people who can turn, learn, and try again." Lena looks at the clock more closely. The second hand moves back one tiny mark at a time. Each time it moves, it makes a soft tick that sounds like a whisper, not a shout. Tick, a breath. Tick, a chance. Tick, a choice. Lena listens. Mr. Rivera hands her a small notebook and a pencil. "When this clock moves," he says, "I ask people for simple questions. If you answer them with care, your heart gets lighter, and the next minute becomes better than the last. Would you like to try?" Lena nods. She sits on a wooden stool. The shop is quiet, except for the soft ticks. The light from the window turns the dust into tiny stars. "The first question," says Mr. Rivera, "is stop. What is happening in your body right now? Name it." Lena closes her eyes. "My face feels hot," she says. "My stomach is tight. My hands do not know where to rest." "Good," he says. "The second question is, look, what happened that led to this moment, step by step, without blame?" Lena thinks. "We were playing. I wanted to win. My friend made a mistake. I rolled my eyes and said, 'She always messes up.' She looked hurt. The others went quiet. I felt big for a moment, then small." "Good," says Mr. Rivera. "The third question is learn. What did this moment teach you about what you value?" "I value my friend," Lena says. "I value kindness. I want to be the kind of person who lifts people up, not pushes them down." "The fourth question," he says, "is act. What is one small step you will take next?" "I will apologize," Lena says. "I will say what I did and how it made her feel. I will ask how I can make it right. I will be careful with my words." Mr. Rivera nods. "That is the way. You cannot pull back the spark, but you can pour water on the dry grass before it spreads. You can plant new seeds." Lena takes a deep breath. The knot in her chest loosens a little. The clock keeps moving backward, calm and steady, as if giving her a little more room to be brave. "Now, let us move through time together and see how this clock changes lives." Each person who enters the shop carries a story. Each story is different, yet the clock helps in the same simple way. A teacher named Omar comes in next. He thinks he is not good enough because one class is noisy every day. He says he must be a failure. Mr. Rivera points to the clock and asks him to use the 4 questions. Omar stops and notices his body. His shoulders feel heavy. His jaw is tight. He looks at the facts. The class is noisy after lunch when students have extra energy. He learns that he values respect and clear rules, and he sees that he needs a better plan, not a better personality. His small action is to greet each student at the door, write the steps on the board, and give them a quick movement break before lessons. 1 week later, he returns, lighter. The class is not perfect, but it is better. He understands that most problems are not proof that we are broken. They are signals that we need a new approach. A shop owner named May visits. She worries that she is behind in life because her friend bought a new house and posted shiny photos online. The clock ticks backward as she writes. She stops and feels the tightness in her chest. She looks at the facts. She pays her bills. She is kind to her customers. She works hard and saves a little each month. She learns that she values stability more than speed. She acts by making a clear plan for the next 3 months, instead of comparing her life to someone else's highlight reel. A week later, she puts a tip jar near the register that says, "Thank you for supporting small dreams." Customers smile and drop in coins. May realizes the clock did not change her bank account overnight. It changed her story from "I am behind" to "I am building." A boy named Theo comes in with his grandfather. Theo lost a big game. He missed a goal and thinks he let everyone down. He wants to quit. The clock guides him through the 4 questions. He stops and notes his shaky legs and quick breath. He looks at the facts. He trained hard all season. He missed 1 shot. Other players also missed. He learns that he values courage and teamwork more than a perfect score. His action is to send a message to the team and say, "I am proud of us. I will practice that shot 10 minutes each day this week. Who wants to join me?" 3 teammates show up at the park. They practice, they laugh, and they grow. Theo sees that failure is not the end of a story. It is a page where you choose what happens next. A nurse named Alma enters near closing time. She feels tired because she cares for sick people all day and for her family at night. She feels she never does enough. The clock takes her in. She stops and notices her aching feet and sleepy eyes. She looks at the facts. She worked 12 hours. She listened to a patient cry and held her hand. She called her mother during lunch. She learns that she values care that is patient and real. Her action is small but strong. She decides to rest without guilt for 30 minutes each evening, to breathe and read so she can keep caring tomorrow. She writes it down and keeps the note in her bag like a small shield. She learns that rest is not laziness. Rest is a tool. As these stories pass through the shop, the clock keeps moving backward, tick by gentle tick. People begin to understand its secret. It does not drag you into the past. It invites you to step off the fast road for a moment, to review the path, to choose the next step with care. The clock teaches that reflection is not delay. Reflection is a form of movement that makes the next move wiser. One day, Lena returns with her friend, Maya. She did apologize. She spoke plainly. She said, "I rolled my eyes and said something unkind. I hurt you. I am sorry. You matter more than a game." Maya listened and nodded. She said, "Thank you for saying it. I felt small, and now I feel seen." They both cried a little, and then they both laughed, because crying and laughing often walk together. They decided to create a rule for their group. Words must help. If a word does not help, they will pause and try again. They wrote this rule on a paper star and placed it in the classroom. Mr. Rivera smiles when he hears this. "That is how time changes," he says. "When you change your next action, time opens like a door. Winter comes, and the town has a festival. There are lights and music, and the shop stays open late. People bring cookies and stories. They gather around the clock and share what they learned." Omar says, "Structure is kindness." May says, "My pace is my power." Theo says, "Practice turns fear into skill." Alma says, "Rest keeps my heart kind." Lena and Maya say, "Words build bridges or walls. We choose bridges." Mr. Rivera clears his throat. "I have something to tell you," he says. The shop grows quiet. "This clock does not really run backward," he says. "I built it to look that way so we would remember to pause. The gears are normal. The trick is the face. The numbers go the other way. I did this to remind us that our feelings about time are often a story we tell. We say we have run out of time, or it is too late, or we must rush. But most days, we can slow down and look. We can take one careful step. The direction of your life is made of many small steps. People do not feel cheated by this news. They feel free. They laugh and clap. The clock taught them something bigger than a magic trick. It taught them that reflection gives power. It taught them that we change our lives by choosing our next small action with care. Before the festival ends, Mr. Rivera gives each person a tiny paper card with 4 words on it. Stop, look, learn, act. He tells them to keep it in a pocket or a bag, and to use it when they feel lost or rushed. He says, when you feel the storm inside, do not fight the weather. Step under a shelter for a moment. That shelter is reflection. Once you can see, choose one honest step. Now let us pause together. You and I think about one small corner of your life that needs care. Maybe it is a friendship, like Lena's. Maybe it is a habit, like scrolling late at night. Maybe it is fear about school, work, or money. Close your eyes if you can. Sit up a little taller and breathe in slowly. Let us try the 4 questions right now. Stop. What do you feel in your body? Name 3 things. Maybe your shoulders are tense. Your breath is shallow. Your eyes feel tired. When we name a feeling, it loses some of its power. It is like turning on a light in a dark room. Look, what are the facts? Step by step, without blame and without drama. Tell the story like a reporter who cares about truth. This helps you see what is real and what is fear, pretending to be real. Learn, what does this moment show you about what you value? Maybe it shows you that you want respect, or honesty, or calm mornings, or true friendship. Values are like guiding stars. When we know them, our path gets clearer. Act. What is one small action you will take in the next 24 hours? Not 10 actions. 1. Keep it simple. Send a message, set a timer, write a list, apologize, ask for help. Put your shoes by the door so you walk in the morning. Small actions done with care beat big plans done never. This is the heart of our story. The clock that ran backwards was not about going back in time. It was about giving time back to your heart. It was about remembering that you cannot change yesterday, but you can change the meaning of yesterday by what you do today. When you do that, yesterday becomes a teacher, not a weight. When you do that, tomorrow becomes a friend, not a fear. As the night ends, the town grows quiet again. The shop lights soften. The clock keeps its gentle rhythm, a rhythm that sounds like a calm breath. People go home and carry their little cards in their pockets. They use the 4 words in hard moments and in ordinary moments, too. Over weeks and months, the town changes in small ways. There are fewer sharp words and more careful ones. There are fewer noisy fights and more honest talks. There is more rest that feeds the soul and less rushing that empties it. Lena and Maya start a small club at school called the Bridge Builders. Once a week, they meet for 10 minutes to practice the 4 questions with anyone who wants to try. They learn to listen without jumping in. They learn to say, I hear you, and what matters most to you right now. They discover that most people want the same things: to be seen, to be safe, to be useful, and to be loved. Omar teaches his class the same steps and posts them at the front of the room. When a problem happens, he points to the steps. The students follow them. Their brains learn a new habit: pause, think, choose. Their hearts learn a new habit too: be kind, then be clear. May puts a small sign near her mirror at home. It says, my pace, my power. Each morning she reads it out loud. It keeps her from chasing someone else's path. It keeps her steady. Theo keeps practicing his shot. He keeps missing sometimes, but he keeps showing up. He learns to love the practice more than the praise. And he becomes a leader on his team, because leaders are people who go first with courage and care. Alma guards her evening rest and becomes softer with her patience and stronger with herself. She sets a chair by her window and watches the sky for 15 minutes each night. She says that watching the sky is like hearing a wise story without words. And Mr. Rivera the old repairman, keeps fixing what people bring, one piece at a time. He says the clock is the easiest thing in his shop. It needs almost nothing. It only needs a room where people are willing to pause. Now, the moral of this story is simple and strong. You do not need a magic clock to heal your days. You need a moment to pause, a clear look at the facts, a lesson about what you value, and one honest step. When you do this again and again, your life becomes a chain of good choices linked by care. You do not run from your past or fear your future. You work with time like a friend. You turn regret into learning, and you turn learning into action. So the next time your heart feels tight, remember the clock that ran backwards. Sit down, breathe, and give yourself a little room. Say the 4 words with me in your mind. Stop, look, learn, act. This is how we turn a hard moment into a helpful one. This is how we build a life that is realistic, honest, and kind. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If this story helped you, share it with someone who might need it. Keep your little card, even if it is only in your thoughts. Stop, look, learn, act. The clock in your own heart is ready. The next minute is waiting for you to choose.